playlist.
Epic. Yeah, everyone, I know we're late, but better late than never.
Okay, then do that. This. Almost there. Make that bigger. Put it right there. And okay.
Jesus Christ. I'm gonna put this in chat. Or I'll just put it in DMs. But like I just saw that. I'm like, what the fuck? Is that real?
And I think that's it, right? That's all I have to do?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, everyone, what's up? You know the drill. Link in description. Hop in, and we'll be taking disagreements.
Meet the aggression of the amazing Lucas's son. And I'm going live.
There we go.
All right. What is up, Drum Alert Nation? I'm your host, Killer Keemstar.
Let's get right into the news. So first of all, we're going to be talking about FouseyTube having another breakdown.
Hope to report your death. Ha ha. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, asshole? You know I'm talking. You know I'm talking.
You decide to interrupt me. Why? You know I'm talking.
Oh, I can play the gameplay now.
Shut the fuck up
Oh.
and let me say what I'm trying to say.
All right. Let's go. I want blood.
Blood.
I want blood.
It's back, and this time not by the ownership of Gaming Drift. Oh, okay. I mean...
What's that? You there, SK? Oh God.
I thought I heard something. I thought I heard some weird stuff outside. I'm like, wait, what? What's
no
going
worries,
on?
SK. There's no worries. You know I'm at my own home right now. I'm not coming to get you yet. That's another time.
Someone just said on a good note, today is the anniversary of Spectacular Spider-Man Episode 1. Good show.
That's fucking super convenient for us to do this disagreement day. I'm happy that's the case.
I mean, yeah, that's an interesting time for people to try arguing why this show should be on near the level of Spectacular.
Exactly.
Do you agree that Forces is the worst game? I mean, if we're being really technical about it, like, obviously 06 is, like, the worst Sonic game, because it's, like, it's broken. But as far as, like, the actual game design, Forces is the worst. Like, the actual concept behind it, because 06 in concept is really good. Forces in concept...
Forces has no sauce.
Yeah.
06 has sauce.
Exactly.
Alrighty. Yeah, I have no one texting. Well, chatting mine.
Yeah, everyone
Server,
remember, hop in if you have disagreements.
Oh wait, shouldn't I link this server too on my stream?
Oh yeah, you should.
Yeah, I'm stupid.
Someone has hopped
Invite
in,
people.
So we'll just let the person in for now.
Alrighty. While you do that, I'm gonna...
Alright, what's up, Master Jedi Cat? Oh, okay. Hold up. Comic Legend, I need you to, like, take over for a bit. I'm just something has popped up. I'll have to deal with it for a few minutes. So I will be back.
Yeah, no problem. What is up, Kitty Soft Paws stuff? I think that's it. Let me double check if the Soft Paws guy is not gonna talk. Do. Oh yeah, that doesn't work. I don't know why. I'll check that out later. Master Jedi Cat, what is your disagreement?
Hi. So, I watched SK's video, and I got some points that I disagree with. So, um, let's go through the list real quick. So, Otto chooses to use Gamma as his energy source.
Yeah.
So SK thinks that it was stupid of him to use Gamma because it's trackable and it's dangerous for his clients. So yeah, not the best. Presumably not the best energy source he could use. But so my counter to that is that he might have not had access to better energy sources. It might have been the best one he had, and he was willing to take the risk of being tracked or his weapons affecting their owners because he wanted to make more money by selling more powerful weapons or spend less money on their creation if other energy sources were like more expensive.
Sorry, is your point done?
Yes.
All right, but okay. So about not finding any other energy source, even if that's a fair argument, I think the problem is that Otto has zero ways to account for being tracked down with Gamma, and he's selling it to like very like loud public criminals with this technology, which means that like the government, the police, superheroes, all that sort, like are gonna start knowing that Otto, is using Gamma to create the weapons. So if he doesn't have any energy source, that's fine. Why doesn't he at least try and find a way to account for gamma radiation being tracked?
Yeah. Well, if there is a way to account for that, I suppose he should have done that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because I think the problem isn't that. I don't think the problem is like exactly that he's using gamma radiation. I think the problem is that he doesn't account for being tracked down by it. He got taken down really easily for like one of the smartest like Spider-Man villains. Really weird.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Um. Okay. Next point. Um. Harry doesn't stop Nico when she's driving, and even turns on the like super speed mode. So SK, I'm paraphrasing. He says that Harry should have stopped her because it's very dangerous, and because he at first feels like he doesn't feel like it's a good idea, and also SK says that Norman would be mad at Harry for participating in this street race. So First, I just have a question. Why would Norman be mad at Harry for participating in the race?
Because it harms the public image of the Osborns.
In what way?
Norman's son is a delinquent that's willing to start car races and endanger lives. That's publicly known now.
Sure. Okay.
I don't think Norman wants to be known to have a bum for a son like that.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, but so about Harry not stopping Nico. Throughout the show, we have quite a lot of scenes with Harry. None of them involve Harry being like very like pushy, or I mean like aggressive, or like strong-willed. Um he's always kind of soft, and I feel like because he um like he was raised by Norman Osborn. He had a lot of money, and no one could really like exert pressure on him except for Norman himself. Um, Maybe he's not used to pressure in that sense. And when Nico like shouts at him to like turn on the mode, uh he cannot um he cannot quite resist her commands. Like he's not prepared for this kind of situation, if you get what I mean.
So this is the son of the guy whose core belief is with great power comes great respect. So why exactly would Harry be this soft? Especially if it means harming his reputation or his family's. Wouldn't Norman have taught him better than this?
Well,
Because
but
Norman's the
wouldn't the
same guy who goes like, Peter, you're holding back. You know, I might drop you if you keep doing that. I don't know
yeah.
why that wouldn't be instilled into Harry, especially that he is rich and could be easily pressured by people. Shouldn't he be more vigilant that people would try to manipulate him and stuff, like what Nico's kind of doing by getting what she wants?
Perhaps, yeah. But so then the problem would be not that Harry didn't do it in this particular instance, but like that his portrayal in the season as a whole wasn't um like he never showed the qualities that his father would like instill in him, or like
I think that's a flaw in of itself already. That the dynamic between father and son, when it comes to the Osborns, is just not explored at all,
yes.
and Harry is acting like that. But also, I think just very simply, if you're like this rich billionaire kid or whatever, and like you have a reputation, I think keeping your reputation would be a very important thing that you would acknowledge. So I think I don't really buy that he just wouldn't stand up to Nico and just turn off the car, put it on brake, tell her to get out of the car, stuff like that. Especially that he encourages it later on. Like after after the race was won, he encourages it and he's like, "Wow, that was awesome," and all that shit. It doesn't really seem like he cares about like how this will affect him or just other people.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But like um I think it makes sense that at first he was afraid. Like many people are afraid of trying something risky, but after he tried and felt the adrenaline rush, he enjoyed it. like when like for example in How to Train Your Dragon, Astrid doesn't want to fly on a dragon with hiccup at first, but then she enjoys the flight and is happy afterwards. So the experience was overall like positive, even though it was dangerous.
I kind of get what you're trying to say with it. I think just the problem is just how much this has as an implication for both characters. Like the fact that Harry like is okay with the amount of danger people will be in isn't like in character for him as far as we can tell in the show. Like he still cares about helping innocents and all that stuff because he works with Spider-Man,
Yeah.
and he will generally have the same kind of mindset with that. But then he's also just okay with, risking innocent lives for a petty car race. That stacked on top of the fact that I think his reputation like would be important to him, like how he's seen to the public. It's not really in character that he would just let that go by, especially when you can just hit the brakes.
Yeah, he says that he says like, Nico, I won't allow you to do this again, right? To like participate in the street race, like using his car, right? Doesn't he say that?
Even if he did, the problem is that he let her do it in the first place. It's just it just doesn't make sense for a guy who would be like caring about his reputation to the public because of being a rich billionaire's son. It doesn't make sense when we factor in this is Norman's son, someone Norman cares about reputation and respect and instills that onto people that he mentors. And also just the fact that morally it's just really shitty for both characters to even engage in this when this could harm innocent people. Especially that Nico doesn't even know how to drive.
Yeah, but like if we divide the scene in like if we look at the end of the race like separately, I think it makes sense that like Harry enjoyed it, and maybe his thought process was like, wow, that was cool, but we're not doing this again because it's dangerous for the public.
That's fine and all. My problem is just the fact that he is okay with it happening in the first place. Like he just lets it happen.
Yeah, so the problem wouldn't be with the like with the ending of the scene. It would be with that like it happened.
It's that
Right.
he let it
Yes.
happen despite all the other factors that would not make sense for his character. As much as Nico's, this shouldn't. If Nico is okay with doing reckless things like this, and like on top of other character stuff that she does throughout the show, I don't understand why she's even friends with Spider-Man or why we should care, because she seems really unlikable. She's willing to like do these like irresponsible car races that could kill people. She's a hypocrite when she gets upset at Spider-Man for hiding a secret when she also has a secret.
Yeah, we'll get to
Yada
that.
yada yada.
Let's just like 2 quick points. Dr. Connors said Peter was getting supplies as an excuse, and SK says that it was a stupid excuse. But to be fair, she was making it up on the spot, so her excuse wasn't thought through. I think it's fine.
Yeah, but like, I don't like making it up on the spot or not. It's still weird that you wouldn't just say he went to the bathroom or something, which is more reasonable.
It is more reasonable. Like I suppose she just wasn't. She was like she had a few seconds to come up with an excuse if she was thinking
Yeah,
for
but
too long.
normally if you're gonna make it up, you're gonna say something more pedestrian than getting supplies.
I mean, if you only have a few seconds to respond, even a questionable excuse is better than nothing. So if mind just
Yeah,
to
going to the
get to
bathroom
the.
is a questionable excuse. It's like, how the fuck has he gone this long in the bathroom?
Oh yeah.
But like that's more of like what an on the spot kind of excuse would be. That's just usually what someone would say because it's very pedestrian and normal for someone to be gone because they're in the bathroom or something. Saying you're going out to get supplies has many different implications that you can't account for, which is why it's strange that she would use that as an excuse for Peter, especially when she doesn't know what Peter's doing.
I mean, I think it's fair that the bathroom excuse is like better for sure, but what I'm saying is that it it's okay that her excuse is more stupid than it could be because she didn't have enough time to like come up with a better one, or at least she
She
just
kind of want
happened
to
not
tackle
to.
that. What exactly even implies that she wouldn't have enough time anyways? Because if someone asks her, she doesn't have like a 2 second time limit or anything. She can sit there and think for a sec.
But then it's gonna look suspicious as if she's coming up with an excuse, not knowing why he's gone.
I don't think it's suspicious for a busy scientist to go, wait, where is Peter? Oh, yeah, in the bathroom.
Oh, like sure, 5 seconds, but if it takes longer, it's
I don't
still
think it
gonna
takes
look.
longer than 5 seconds to go, Peter went to the bathroom.
I mean, fair. Okay. Um, do you mind if we move on from this point?
Yeah, it's all you, man.
Okay, thank you. So, um, SK questions the fact that she helped Peter with the excuse as a whole because like uh she doesn't know him really, but
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, I had to deal with something. Yeah, that's kind of like the wider issue I have with that scene is that she has no reason to actually cover for him when she doesn't know his identity. And that also kind of takes away from the whole dual life struggle that they're going for. So,
so she sees how he's struggling to meet the other scientists, the what's his name? I don't remember. The other scientists' expectations,
Whitman.
the very critical. Yeah, that guy. Um, so she just like empathizes with him and wants to help, considering her own situation. Like she, mm, I'm sure that we can. Like she also faces criticism from this guy, and she knows that it's unfair. So like sometimes, so I don't think it's unreasonable to expect empathy, like from her towards the.
I mean, for all she knows, like Peter could literally be like stealing shit in the corporation because she just doesn't know this person fully, and he's suspiciously gone for a long time.
But I think maybe he made a good first impression, and like the first days of work with him were fine. Like he
Yeah, but
didn't
everyone
look like
does.
him.
Like when someone wants to get in somewhere and steal something, like yeah, of course they're gonna have a good first impression.
Hmm. But why would he want to? Oh, I guess yeah, okay. Um,
Well, like just to add on, it's like if Peter has a reasonable explanation, then he'll just give it. And if he doesn't have a reasonable explanation, then he just isn't holding up to his own responsibilities that he signed up for. So, if anything, he should be learning from that anyway.
well, maybe she wasn't. She thought that helping him is better than like trying to teach him a lesson about like responsibility.
Yeah, but like, so what's the purpose of helping him here? because for all she knows, he could just be like slacking off. He could be lazy. He could be not being like, you know, attentive to when he's supposed to come back, and those are just like not good qualities at all. So like, yeah, I don't see why she would just be covering for him at all. I don't know why they put that in the story when the whole struggle they're going for is the whole dual life aspect of his superheroing. It's like I don't see what I don't see what reason there would be to put that in the story, or why she would like cover for him, like she doesn't know him.
Um, I think it doesn't make sense. If we like look at the general idea of him like struggling with his like dual life. Like it doesn't make sense for them to put this scene there.
Mhm.
But well, uh, I suppose he made a good first impression, and he like her impression of him is that you wouldn't lack like you wouldn't be late without a very. But then she wouldn't make the excuse. Damn, she would make an excuse if he thought he had a good excuse, but because then he would just like come and tell them that like, well, I have this good excuse. Yeah.
You know
I
what my
mean-
problem is?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you want to know why doesn't Dr. Connors become Lizard in this season? She's boring. Boring.
Yeah.
I want woman Lizard.
Um. Well, they saved all of the good stuff for the second season.
Yeah, Potential Man, my favorite kind of Spider-Man. I love it.
Potential Man.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the next point. Peter watches the 1/10th getting beaten by Scorpion.
Yeah.
I understand that it would be in character for Spider-Man to instantly try to save those people, right? But we have to keep in mind that his fight with Scorpion, he has PTSD after this horrific experience he went through very recently, one of the worst in his life. He almost died. So I think it makes sense that it takes him about like a dozen seconds to overcome it and get into the fight.
Okay, so here's my main problem with that, and maybe to put it into easier perspective. Let's say the Scorpion was about to stab Aunt May. Do you think Peter would have similarly just sat there and did nothing?
You think the lives of a billion strangers are more important than my loved ones?
I think he would react like more quickly, but it would be because him seeing Aunt May would distract him from his fear enough to act faster, if that makes sense.
So you're saying that Aunt May's life being in danger would pressure him to act quicker?
Yes.
Okay, I agree, but the same would apply to these random 1/10th people. The fact that people are literally about to die would push him to act faster. That's my problem with it.
He
Yeah.
changed because the people were getting hurt.
I mean, I'm not a PTSD expert or anything, so I don't know much about how this works. But I just presumed that he would like be more distracted by Aunt May being attacked than by like random people being attacked. I don't know if it's an unfair
I mean, I don't think
function.
it works because of how much value Peter has shown for human life, even if they are bad guys.
Oh yeah,
Like
he jumps in front of the
right,
laser
right.
gun.
So it's
Yeah,
real hard to like
instinctually.
find.
The season works against me.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem with Peter's character.
Damn. By the way, great video. I really liked it. I agree with
Thanks.
most of the points.
Awesome.
Um, yeah. So
Yeah, SK, you destroyed that sacred cow perfectly, in my opinion.
um, so next, yeah, we can move on. Yeah.
All right, yeah, go for it. What's the next point?
Um, so you say that Nico is inconsistent because she criticizes Peter for something she does too.
Well, it's
that-
more so her motivation doesn't work because her whole motivation is that she thinks keeping a secret means that'll lead to abandonment, but she held a secret from Peter this whole season.
I would go deeper. Honestly, I don't think there's any technical like inconsistency or anything like that with her character. I think the problem is it's like how how am I supposed to like this character if all that I see from her is either whining about rich people randomly, um being a hypocrite, and driving rich people's cars and possibly killing innocents for like her an ego boost. It's like this is supposed to be Spider-Man's friend, and it's like we're supposed to care about that friendship. But why? Like I don't like this character, and there's no reason given why she is a likable character. She just kind of seems like selfish.
Yeah, I generally agree with that, but I don't think there is an inherent problem in her being a hypocrite other than it like, makes us like her less. I
It's
think
not it's not on its own. I think it's just everything together is the problem. It's just
yeah.
she isn't
I mean,
likable. If
if
she
we
was a
want to,
hypocrite, if she was a hypocrite, but then like, oh, she also has these traits that make us like her as a character, fine. But that's not what's going on. It's just she's either hypocritical, whiny, self-centered, or just really like annoying. Like there's no like positive trait for her character.
well, also like even if we want to say that it's not like strictly inconsistent or it strictly doesn't make sense, if we go with that, then we have to assume that she's a lot more, I guess, morally bankrupt than the show leads us to believe, like a lot more. Which is like that's just a really bad reflection of her as a person, and the show doesn't seem to acknowledge that, criticize it, or anything. It's kind of just swept under the rug.
We
Yeah,
just need a
so
reason to like her. That's just my argument. We don't have any good reason to like this character.
that's fair. Um, so maybe I mean it's the what's it called, the future man or the uh like
The future man.
yeah
Future
like
Man.
what
Oh, you mean
uh
Miguel O'Hara, the guy who is not like his comic adaptation in Across the Spider-Verse? That future man?
uh I didn't know about that. I my condolences, I suppose.
Well, yeah. What
uh
are we leading to?
yeah, so I'm like maybe she's like growing as a person, so he's that person who hates rich people, but then uh she like learns that not all of them are like bad, and like becomes less biased, and then she's a hypocrite, but then by the end of the first season she realizes um that she is a hypocrite and that she was wrong, and even feels guilty because she's still keeping a secret from Peter. I think there's some potential growth there.
I mean, that's just
There's
potential.
there's
That's
growth,
just
sure, but the problem still stands. She's not there's nothing to her right now besides being unlikable. And oh my god, SK, we have very similar thumbnails. I just realized that.
well, yeah, it's just there's literally nothing about her character that is worth following in this season. And I think the main problem with having like shallow characters that don't have anything going on with them, then like in that case, why are we following these characters? Why are they prominent characters in the series if you don't care to flesh them out? If we don't have any reason to invest in them, they're just like you can replace them with anybody and it won't change anything. Like I suppose
Miguel is similar to comic self. He's ruthless and brutal. Yes, because that's all Miguel O'Hara is in the
That's-
comics, guys. He's just ruthless and brutal.
I'm not dignifying that with a response. That was a horrible.
I'm not even gonna dignify that
But,
to a response.
Yeah, I just want to mention real quick, right?
Guys,
A really
Batman's
good
like his
example-
comic self. He's ruthless and brutal in BVS, guys.
A really
Ignore that
good
he kills
example. Okay, a really good example is if we look at Daredevil, all the 3 original seasons. These characters are really well done. They're really like well fleshed out. So when we actually have Daredevil Born Again, where we have Foggy and Karen just shafted out of the plot, out of the main plot line, and they barely have any involvement, but instead we get these other new characters that barely have any
Don't
personality.
forget that they get damaged and or assassinated in the process.
Well, yeah, just to show that general concept, even if they don't get damaged or assassinated, we have these newer characters that aren't as endearing, aren't as compelling or deep as Karen and Foggy are, and we're just left with, okay, so we've taken away these characters, and yeah, you've tried to replace them with other side characters, but it's just not the same, because these people we're following don't have anything compelling to linger onto, unlike Foggy and Karen. And that's kind of the same thing with this show right here. It's like,
But it's new.
But it's new, right? It's new, so we don't actually have any like compelling characters in the first place. And to get it, this extends far beyond Nico, because Nico is like barely a character. The same goes for Harry. We barely get anything with him as a character. We barely get anything with Pearl as a character. That's like, she's a nothing character. With
Mr. Krabs' daughter is in the show.
Yeah, the most we get from like side characters in the show is from Lonnie, but even then they fumble that. So.
Yeah. So, I think I agree with the whole point that like characters should have been more fleshed out, and that Nico is not very likable, and her hypocrisy somewhat contributes to that. Yeah. Oh, and about Daredevil Born Again, I think we should give them a chance. I'm not very hopeful, but
what about season 3? Did they give it a chance? Did they? Kidding.
Yeah. So I think we should give the new characters a chance. I'm not too hopeful. I'm
Why?
not...
They're too diverse for my taste, bro.
I mean, so the thing is that makes it hard for me to like give Born Again a chance is that like they already killed off a beloved character just unceremoniously in a really like horribly directed manner, and then Karen is just completely destroyed as a character in that same episode, and we're just like, oh well, here's a new cast of characters for them to follow, and it's just like, sure, they could be alright characters, but as of right now, they're not really doing much with them. It's not really much to grasp on. And look, here's the thing. They absolutely could elaborate on the characters. They could improve upon them moving forward. But here's the thing. I also said the same about Friendly Neighborhood when we were 2 episodes in. So, we'll just have to see.
My take is we didn't need to wait for Foggy and Karen to be good characters. They were good by the time of episode 1.
That's correct.
We didn't have to wait for multiple episodes in Spectacular. In the first episode, all the characters were good. They were all fun.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Okay. So this might be a. I don't
I'm
know.
sorry, I gotta
That's
mention this real quick. Stark
uh-huh.
just said, "Well, Secret Wars could bring Foggy back." Yeah, Secret Wars of all
Please
things.
don't.
Secret
Please
Wars
don't.
brings back
I'm
Foggy.
begging you, please stop.
No!
Stop. Secret Wars is gonna
Oh.
be so bad.
And I agree with
Secret Wars
Bootneck.
could bring Foggy back.
I
Please
agree with
don't.
Bootneck.
You know what? You know,
Fundamentally, the choice of killing Foggy, it's not bad. It's just how they did it was really bad.
just for saying that, 1 hour Starkster's timed out in my server. Just for
Yeah.
saying that. I can't handle that. That was horrible.
Someone just asked, how did they handle Bullseye so far? So I was actually shocked to see that they character assassinated Bullseye. That was a shock.
How
to
did they
me.
character assassinate Bullseye?
I know. It's like, so for people who aren't like in the know, so like Bullseye wanted to kill Fisk, like him
Yes.
the most, because he got Julie killed. So because of that, he dressed up as Daredevil and tried to kill Fisk at his own wedding. He tried to ruin his life. So why is it that when Fisk is running for mayor, he doesn't try to ruin that moment for him and try to kill him?
I
So
agree that's stupid. I don't know if that's character assassination.
Well, okay. Maybe I need to watch episode 2, but it seems to me like he doesn't care to get back at Fisk, and that should be his #1 priority.
so
Possibly, yeah.
I
I agree with that criticism. I just don't know if I would call it character assassination. I would just simply say it's just fucking stupid and not explained.
Maybe they can.
yeah.
Maybe they can mitigate it later on. But if it
yeah, I think
ends
they're
up-
gonna do that.
If it
honestly.
ends up where it's just like, okay, so he literally just didn't care to get back at Fisk, then yes, I do consider that an assassination.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think there's gonna be an explanation because it feels like we're not quite done with
Secret Wars might explain it.
with the Foggy and no, please no. With the Foggy and Bullseye storyline, I think we're gonna come back to it later in the season, but like we may not, so we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it maybe so are you
I hate
sure-
you 3000.
Damn. All
Sorry,
right,
I'm just
keep
reading
going.
out
Yeah, so-
things.
are you sure that the scene where like a police officer looks at Lonnie, do you think it is necessarily an example of racism from
Yes.
the cop?
Because it's commonly known that when black people are just being followed for no reason, and Lonnie turns in a way where he's like, yeah, I'm not even surprised that it's a common thing for him. And you also have in that montage that people are looking at him weird. This is a common thing that black people have talked about as far as like experiences with racial tensions. That's the intention here. They're trying to touch upon that, which I think they do actually. I was expecting that they might do something interesting with it. I think they did a weak job with it. I think that was kind of just pandering in this because they just throw it in there and they don't explore it deeper.
Yeah. I'm
Alrighty. We have another person.
okay. Can we
Waiting.
just go through like 2 points?
Oh shit! Sorry, I
brief-
thought we were. Yeah, no worries. I thought
No.
I thought you
that's alright.
were done because we were talking about Born Again.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
He was asking about the racial thing, so I just clarified.
Oh, I'm stupid. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
I was reading stuff. Well, when I hear thing about issues with other races that isn't mine, I just kind of stop paying attention. That's my bad.
Yeah, I have 2 points and 1 question left. So about Big Don.
Lucas.
So, no. The gang
No, he's
guy.
joking. Just keep going.
Oh yeah.
The amazing gangster.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead. I'm
he
sorry.
He doesn't seem to be a pro or an educated person, and so do his gang members.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking of like the defensive. Well, in fairness, Lucas isn't really well educated, so it kind of makes sense that the 1/10 intelligence streams their crimes.
Wait.
The amazing Lucas wasn't an all
Alright,
boys school after all.
Let's let him
Let me finish, please.
Yeah, let him finish.
I'm sorry, I lost my shit. Keep going.
I don't think it is unreasonable to assume that he chose the path of crime because that was what he was most qualified for. He was strong and the smartest of those idiots. So he became their boss. They
Well-
are a low-level gang. They don't usually participate in complex operations. The Avengers don't have the time for this level of crime. The police would probably apprehend most of them in a few years because
So it's
they're
below
not
the Avengers
intelligent
pay
enough.
grade.
Come again?
So it's below the Avengers pay grade.
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
I mean, the thing is about that is, I don't really. The problem is that Big Donovan, is established to
Donovan.
have lots of experience in the crime world, and on top of that, he also has been like, he calls it his home turf, right? So he's been holding it for years. Basically, 110th Street or whatever the turf is, he's been able to hold on to it for years.
Intelligence Street.
He says that, other rival gangs, they've been, preventing them from taking it over and causing chaos or whatever. So he knows, he has to know, like, the basics of running a crime organization, because he's very experienced with it. He hasn't been caught for years. So he has to know very, like, basic stuff, like, if someone walks in and they have a wire, that's bad. If someone walks in and they have a tracker on them, that's bad. If someone walks in and they're under investigation, which in this case Lonnie's brother, who's literally was under investigation, if the police found him here, then yeah, that would be bad. I feel like I feel like that's just basic common sense, but for his case, he's an experienced crime leader, so he would have to know about these things.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that this crime has existed for
We'd also,
quite a while.
yeah, we just have to assume he's been doing this for a while. So, like, I understand when I can understand when people are like, why are you comparing this to like Hammerhead from like Spectacular, under the context that that's a way bigger crime organization, way more sophisticated. I get that. The reason we use that as a comparison is like at least the basic stuff should be replicated. Like we're not asking Donovan to have like the Kingpin secret lair in like the 90s show where you can't track him in there. It's built like a fortress. Like obviously that's not what we're asking.
The idea is
We
to
just
have
want the
some kind of
competence.
plan. Yeah, some kind of plan to deal with anyone that has a tracker.
So,
Yeah, like if you're a leader of this gang, I feel like you should be more vigilant than the Kingpin or Big Man because they have just resources that make their job easier. He doesn't have that luxury. So seeing him be this this sloppy, this irresponsible, and really stupid with how he controls his crime organization, it looks really bad.
Yeah, like Homecoming got this right, where they're more, paranoid. They're more cautious with it.
Under the radar.
Under the radar.
Would you have a problem with the gang if they only existed for a month and then were like apprehended by the police?
Yeah, if they're like really low experience and they're just a bunch of people who thought they could start up their little crime gang, be gangsters, and then they get caught very quickly. Yeah, that would make a lot more sense.
Okay. I think one last point and then a question. So Lonnie cares for the 1/10 gang and stays in it.
Yeah.
So I think this character arc is rushed, and I think parts of it weren't clear enough. So I can totally see where you're coming from. From what I can tell, the idea was that Lonnie would feel like he has to be part of the gang for three main reasons. First, the 1/10 could attack his family if he betrayed them. Second, the Scorpions would make life in the area even worse if the 1/10 was gone. And third, Lonnie enjoyed the community and respect he acquired after his first tasks were completed.
Okay.
Later, yeah, let's stop there for now.
So just to address point one, so he gets told by Pearl that they won't come after him because they have bigger things to deal with, and he says he's not worried about that. He thinks that he owes
Oh.
them, and that's the main problem. He shouldn't believe he owes them on a personal level. That's part one.
Yeah.
Part two is that with the Scorpion Gang, yeah, that's a reasonable thing for him to worry about, but that's something you can send the cops or Spider-Man after. And what makes it even worse, I actually didn't even realize this, but it just hit me just now. Lonnie is with Spider-Man, and he would have seen Spider-Man swing away when the Scorpion Gang is right there. He should have asked Spider-Man to deal with the Scorpion Gang and make sure they all get arrested. So that's a problem with his character too, that he let the Scorpion Gang go.
Yeah.
Also, it is
and then-
established that like the Scorpion is being dramatically hunted down because they know he's like a super criminal and all that shit, and like everybody under the book is trying to look for him in the city. So it's not easy for Matt Gargan to do much. His gang maybe could. Even then, honestly, at that point, why not just get the cops involved?
He's definitely on Iron Man's radar, at least.
Yeah.
Yep.
So would he feel that he owes the gang something after like a couple of the 1/10 guys when they like save him from the Scorpions when they're like chasing him?
No, because
No.
that only benefits the gang. That's the only reason they did that.
Yeah, and on top of that, like, these people have endangered his brother. Like, that should be unforgivable in his eyes.
Yeah, they're
Letting
okay
his
with
little brother
endangering
go.
him and his family. They just save him because it's beneficial to them. That's the only reason. They wouldn't have saved him if otherwise.
Yeah.
Lonnie knows their base. That's the only reason they saved him.
Yeah, probably. The writers dumped into this plotline a few scenes of him being praised by the gang and feeling unity with them. A few scenes where Big Don is mean to him and wanted us to conclude that the latter was overridden by the former, and also that they like involved his brother and did a lot of other bad stuff, and like yeah, that's weird. Yeah, so I like the idea of like Lonnie having a reason to join a gang, but I don't like the execution.
Yeah.
Okay.
And finally, SK, I really wanna understand your movie ranking scale. Could you please give a few examples of your movie rankings, like 0 to 10?
Okay.
Preferably from Marvel, Star Wars, DreamWorks, or Pixar.
Okay, so as far as something
SK hates The Incredibles. I hope you guys know that.
As far as what I consider like a 10, probably something like Kung Fu Panda 2. I can't really think of any problems with that movie, at least that are significant. It's really good on every level, as far as animation, as far as the voice acting, the story, how it's edited, the music, the pacing, all of it. I think it's just really it's just a perfect package, pretty much. Something that
Movie's
I guess,
perfect.
something I would say is like, I guess maybe a 9 out of 10 would be like Across the Spider-Verse, because Across the Spider-Verse has a lot of that, but there's also some things I would criticize about the story.
Like Miguel O'Hara.
And then like if I want to go a little lower, I guess Deadpool and Wolverine I give like a 7 out of 10, because like I think it has good stuff overall, but it also has a lot of things I would criticize. Not that it takes away from the big
disagree.
stuff. Not that I think it takes away from the big stuff from it, but I think it's good but not great. Something more towards the middle. Like a 4.
10 out of 10 is Sonic 3.
A 4 or a 5 for me. Like those numbers are usually, they're not like bad per se. They're more so like 4 is on the edge of bad, but like they're more so just average for me. So like if I were to throw anything there, maybe like Thor Ragnarok. I would put it like
Okay.
4 or 5. Where it's like it's not terrible. It's just like it also has a lot of weaknesses. It's kind of like the good and bad are kind of fighting for the top. And it could go either or. A 3 is where I really start to say that things are like bad. And I would say Homecoming. If you've seen the video on that, I'd say Homecoming is bad. Far From Home, I'd say is worse. I'd give that a 2. No Way Home Story, I think is the worst of them all. I'd give that a 1 because of like
Really?
how much damage it does.
Okay.
A 0 for me is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League because that's just self-explanatory.
How would you
Suicide
rank?
Squad, kill myself.
How would you rank The Last Jedi or The Marvels?
I haven't seen The Last Jedi in years, so I wouldn't know where to rank it. But I haven't seen the Marvels either.
Last Jedi is a 2.
Is it better or worse than Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man?
Last Jedi is easily worse than Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't know.
I agree
'cause
with
again,
this take.
I wouldn't know where to put Last Jedi.
Have you watched anything from phases 4 and 5 other than Guardians and No Way Home?
Yeah,
No.
I watched let's see, there's Black Widow.
Ugh.
Thought that was bad.
Okay.
Why'd you
So,
watch Black Widow? What the fuck?
How would you?
Because
How
I
would
heard
you
how
rank-
bad it
rank
was, so
it?
I was curious.
Oh, so you intentionally watch movies that you're gonna fucking hate. I see how it is.
Yeah, I mean,
You're
I
a
do
fucking
that
rage
sometimes.
baiter, SK.
How would you rank it?
I can't even remember it, to be honest. I don't remember it, and I don't want to.
Okay.
Isn't it convenient
You're-
that every movie that involves women empowerment, he is being ambiguous of where he would rank it? I think you're kind of fucking spineless,
Captain
SK.
Marvel, if I Captain Marvel, I remember more. That's like a 2 or a 1.
And is it worse than
Why is
Your
that?
Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man?
I suppose because like Friendly Neighborhood, I'd say is like a really low 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
Friendly Neighborhood's pretty trash.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Captain Marvel because I'm not SK. I don't watch movies I know I'm gonna fucking hate. I kind of value my money. I don't know.
I see.
Well, I didn't watch it in theaters, thankfully.
Because
Did you heard
I
it?
mean, I thought Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man wasn't like that bad. I mean,
So
there is
what's
some
good about it?
fine, decent stuff in it. I suppose some scenes.
Name 5 things. Name 5 things.
Okay. There are some conversations between like Norman and Peter, like Peter and Nico that are like functional and
So you enjoy the
fine.
disagreement days with the characters?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I guess the major events are mostly dysfunctional, but there is some fine stuff here and there. I feel like
Well, like, so you talked about Norman's interactions with Peter, but like,
Some of them.
which one stands out as like, wow, that's a really good moment.
well, remember their conversation in the restaurant? I thought it was
Yeah, I suppose it's good setup, but I wouldn't say that like stands out to me. I kind of would see it the same way I would see like, I don't know, Peter talking to Norman about him getting his internship reinstated in Spectacular Season 2, where it's just like, you know,
My God.
like that. It's just like, it's kind of just like, oh yeah, it's just set up. It's bare minimum. It's like, what can you do? It makes enough sense.
Sorry, I momentarily disconnected from the internet. What's going on?
I just asked like, what's a standout scene, and he mentioned the dinner scene with Peter and Norman. It's just like, yeah, the scene works, of course, because it makes sense enough. It sets up, it does the bare minimum to set up what's to come afterwards, but a lot of what's to come afterwards just doesn't really work. So I wouldn't really say that really is that much of a strength.
What about the runaway from prison, the like Russian when the Russian gang like
Well,
oh
like,
no
The Russian gang. Daredevil
not that
season
scene.
1.
No, actually no, forget about it. The scene where they like get caught by the police.
I mean, that's just a really small thing. It's like, oh yeah,
Yes,
the criminals get
I
caught by the
agree.
police. It's not really like huge for any characters or the plot.
Yeah. The scene where like with the where the speedster and the girl with the laser thingies get their
Ooh,
weapons.
I want to do this because I remember talking about this with a few of my other friends. Going with like Spectacular, the villains have memorable quotes and shit, and they're not boring, even if they're one note. But like for the neighborhood, they are. They tried to use the speedster, speed demon, and tarantula. They're like, yeah, they're pretty funny. And then I asked them this question. I'm gonna ask you this question. Name like one quote that was memorable that they said.
I don't remember any.
Okay, comic listener, I'm gonna ask the same to you. Can you name one memorable quote from the Rhino in Spectacular?
From the who?
Rhino from Spectacular.
Where's Parker? What do you think? I'm stupid? Well, you are dressed stupid.
All right, yeah. What about Shocker?
Don't you mock me, boy.
Yeah. What about Venom?
What's the matter, bro? Spider sense didn't tingle.
Yeah.
We all wear masks, Spider-Man. But which one is real? The one that hides your face or the one that is your face?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think Spectacular easily did the best with the villains, but like, yeah, I think we kind of went into a whole lot of stuff, and there's a lot of other people waiting. So
So yeah, I'm just saying that there's some decent, at least decent setup here and there. So I mean, I think there are worse movies and shows out there for sure that are like broken on every level, and
Friendly Neighborhood is literally live service storytelling.
Huh.
We have to wait for the update to actually get the payoffs.
yes.
yeah. Well, yeah,
It's
I
the
mean,
Avengers game of storytelling.
God damn. I mean, yeah.
Wait a few months.
I appreciate you coming on. But yeah, this was
Thank
a
you.
good discussion.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's been fun.
See you later.
Yeah. See you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
He was too nice. I want blood, SK.
You want blood? Okay. Well, maybe some of the mean people on Twitter will show up. What's up, Maverick Chroma?
Hello. I have a few points that I want to share.
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, for one, Aunt May did not have enough screen time for all her worth.
I mean, that's an agreement. Do we have a disagreement?
Right. I mean,
You're on the line.
Yeah, what's the disagreement?
Abraham Lincoln did free the slaves. He's an opportunist.
Maverick Chroma, what's the disagreement? Because this is for disagreement.
video, even though it kind of defeats the point of Disagreement Day.
What?
Okay, do you have a disagreement?
What's his
Not-
name? Marv something?
Maverick Chroma.
Maverick.
Not really.
All right, Maverick. What's your thoughts on Abraham Lincoln?
Shut up. Fucking Lucas shit.
Wait.
Ignore that. What is the disagreement? Do you have a disagreement or no?
I mean, I couldn't think of any disagreements.
Okay, well this is disagreement day, not agreement day, so you'll have to come back another time. See you later.
Goodbye, sir. That was so painful. Before we start, hang on. I got a comment. I got like a comment in my live chat going, "Why is Colin trying to get money from his own audience to get a car?" Laugh my ass off, just out of nowhere.
That's hilarious. Yeah, he's e-begging for $7,000 fucking dollars just so he can like pay for his car. His car that he doesn't even need for work, by the way. So you really shouldn't pay him for that. It's just, oh, he broke his $7,000 toy. Guys,
Hey,
I broke
sorry,
my
I
$7,000
just,
toy. Can you guys pay for it? Like, no, fuck you. That's money grabbing shit.
All right, what's your disagreement,
What's up?
Mask of the Phantasm Man?
Yeah, Gabriel, if it's easy, you know, that's my name, but, I was watching your video, SK, about the new Spider-Man show, and, by and large, I did end up agreeing with the overall thesis that it was a show that had potential and ended up executing much of it poorly, any of the good coming in isolation.
Mm-hmm.
There was something I noticed that I kinda disagreed with, though, and also a point that I just kinda wanted to make about the final symbiote fight with the dumbass paradox and all that. But
Yeah.
first I'll start with my disagreement, which was, you said that it was kind of weird, especially with the principle about being in the heat of the moment, for Peter to have some sort of, like, fear response when he was fighting Scarecrow, holy shit, I was watching an Arkham Knight, I was watching an Arkham Knight video earlier, just being
This is the great
stupid.
Necromorph's fault.
This is...
No, but I mean, Scarecrow versus Spider-Man would go hard as fuck, but I meant Scorpion.
Uh-huh.
You said that it kind of would have made sense if they didn't already establish that Peter was just such a good person that he would have just saved someone, damned if he does, damned if he doesn't style with Anthony earlier. But I think I actually kind of have... I think I have an angle by which it actually somewhat explains why he froze in that moment, though, which is because even though we've seen Peter, like, get his ass kicked up until that show, there's always that moment of overall triumph where, like, he wins in the end. And really, that doesn't happen, especially not on his own. Like, you gotta think about it from his perspective. Even by the end of the fight, he was probably still scared shitless because he needed Tombstone to bail him out during that fight. I think he might have genuinely been just honestly traumatized in a sense. Not like permanent scarred,
Yeah,
but temporarily fucked up.
No, I'm aware of that. But I'm just... Well, I'll bring up what I brought up earlier in the discussion. If it were Aunt May being grabbed by the scorpion tail, would he have just stood there and watched? Like, I think it gets to a
No,
point...
and I can definitely see that criticism. I can see that.
My whole point is that it gets to a point where something serious has to happen that pressures him into acting. And if we literally see, like, yeah, people are on the brink of dying, Lonnie included, then, like, yeah,
it was
I think
still a stupid choice to not jump in garden.
Well, not whether or not it's a stupid choice. I just think he would do it.
What I mean is that, like, as you pointed out, right now and in the video, there were people in risk of imminent fatal danger. Spider-Man could have at least pushed it off and given them a chance to escape, and he still waited to act, which, regardless of any fear or justifiability that my point raises, it is still, like, strange for his character. I can understand that, but my other issue, and this one is probably going to show that I'm a bit more of a comic nerd when it comes to Venom, is why are all the symbiotes at the end black? We've been shown that they can actually appear in a variety of different colors, and depending on which lore you're using, the color of the symbiote somewhat helps denote its power. So are you just implying that Peter and Doctor Strange are so terrible that they're just getting their ass kicked by one very terrible symbiote that can't even try and possess a stronger host?
Yeah, I mean, it's just all... I guess you can say it's kind of boring in the symbiote lore, that they all just look the same.
It's like, I would understand if most of them were black, but it's like, why not even go for one of the obvious, like, gray or purple to reference it, or like red for a Carnage and Toxin reference? It just seems weird with symbiote lore, and the fact that they clearly want to use more of it, that they fucked up the most basic principle.
So, all that I'll say is, like, we don't know the vastness of the symbiote lore in the show, so maybe they could have other colors and stuff, so I don't really know.
That's what I mean, that it's probably because they haven't played their hand fully yet, but just what I know and the fact that this show has demonstrated that it wants to use that stuff more like openly. I think it is kind of weird to not have that, but in the end,
Honestly,
you're
I'm just
right.
glad that I don't see a fucking spiral on their faces. That's what I'm happy for. That's not in
Okay,
there.
that story could be retrofitted to do it really well, but I think it should have been something that didn't happen the way it did in the comics or any show adaptation. That story should have taken place over several years as different events that lead up to Null, because that's just way too big a villain to blow your load on one and done like that.
Yeah.
Especially with the whole cosmic Venom. I love Eddie Brock. I'm all for new superhero mantle or power, but I don't care how brief or long that time span was, the Enigma Force is the worst thing you can do with him.
Yeah, it was pretty goofy when that happened.
It's more than it's goofy. I know this is going to sound silly, but I'm one of those people who likes to take the goofy and silly moments for that, but when the story is happening, I just like to just engage and try and take it seriously on its own merits. And the whole point of Venom was always, oh yeah, he's Spider-Man, but he's not fully pure of heart, which is where his whole willing to kill more often and shit comes up. So him even getting the Enigma Force based on how it works just kind of feels wrong to me. I would have preferred a different Guffin.
It is very strange that the morally ambiguous Venom is worthy to be the Enigma Force. Really stupid.
The only way I can ever justify it is, ironically enough, same type of justification for shit in JoJo's. The brief version, stands can be upgraded with an arrow, and it becomes based on what you need the most in this moment, as far as what their power would be. And it almost feels like that. It literally just feels like, because Eddie's morals aligned with what is technically good in that moment, the Enigma Force just said, fuck it, loopholes are loopholes. And I
That could
never
be a better
liked
way,
that.
yeah.
That's like the best analogy I can use to explain it, and even then I don't like it because... But, back on topic for the show itself, I also think my biggest complaint overall is that SK was very much right that they used Aunt May wrong, but I also hate how they only used her wrong by nature of never placing her scenes in the right order. I don't think SK himself even noticed this, but I am probably going to rewatch the show so I can call out specific scenes better next Disagreement Day shows up. But if you actually rearrange the order in which some of the talks gives to Peter come up, it makes way more sense, and I guess to me just shows that I feel like the show was way more rushed than they want to tell us, because after the trailers got all shit on and stuff, they probably had to change a lot of their intended story. Well, it's because the trailers, at least the first couple, made it out like we were going to spend a season with the garbage homemade suit, and that it was going to be about Peter before anyone influences his life, and when it's just Peter going through his asshole phase, figuring himself out, and, you know, rediscovering that he is a truly great person under it all, like early comics and the Sam Raimi movies do with the first two. But then, you know, everything happened with the backlash those trailers got, so to me it just feels like they changed a lot, especially to rush Peter into the classic red and blue.
Yeah.
I'm kind of lost. What were we talking about now?
No, he's talking about the show being rushed, and how it's like if you rearrange some of the order, the Aunt May stuff, it could have worked better.
My big points were
even if they did that, I still think that Aunt May is just, there is like so little material with her character. There's literally nothing to unpack here.
I think they didn't use the scenes they finished properly, and that they didn't finish all of her scenes. Because another thing I noticed is that, like, some of the conversations her and Peter have feel like they were part of a bigger discussion that was supposed to be had as like an overarching story. And I feel like the show was... I kind of feel like the show was originally, and this just speculation, so I could be totally wrong, I think the original intent was honestly going to be a story that was still for children, but would allow itself to dive into the psychology of how are Peter and May reeling from the loss of Ben. Because you can see it with how much the show, like, dick rides Ben. It goes beyond putting him on a pedestal. Anytime he's brought up, it's like the universe itself is getting wet for this man. But I think that was because there was supposed to be a reason for it, and then they got rushed out the door after the backlash, couldn't actually put in the reason.
Yeah, I just think the show
SK
is
pointed
pretty
out,
lame.
SK did in his video, and I'm kind of just going to summarize his point real quick to get at what I mean, is that the universe itself seems to have this strong love of Uncle Ben, but they strip away a lot of the most important things Uncle Ben did, but still expect us to love him, which, at least in my personal opinion, outside of SK's influence in his video, leads me to believe that even if they still removed those traits from Ben and put them elsewhere, that they were planning to replace it with something that at least had some form of emotional weight. But they didn't, because show got rushed.
I think the Uncle Ben thing is really just pandering, and I feel like a lot of this show is just pandering, because there's a lot of complaints that people have about, the MCU version and other versions of Spider-Man, and I feel like the whole, oh, see, we have Uncle Ben here, I feel like that's just pandering, because they don't actually do anything of substance with it.
Yeah, I understand that, because, the worst part is MCU Peter could have been great. He has some of the, quintessential Peter traits down, but he's missing a few traits, and Marvel did the worst thing ever by broadly applying several major traits that early comic Miles had. Ned is very clearly inspired to some degree by Genki and how he was portrayed in Miles comics. And then there was the gifted school angle, which kind of takes away from the natural genius angle that Peter had by everyone being nearer to his degree of intelligence, shit like that.
I think the problem with Peter in the MCU is honestly that I think they fundamentally get most of what makes Peter a character wrong. He's just not the one from the comics at all. I think it's really shit.
He somewhat embodies Peter, but I'm willing to, take that hook and ask, why do you think he fundamentally fails to embody the character?
I think everything to do with his personality is not like how Peter's supposed to be. Peter's usually a way more assertive, person who's way more willing to be independent and not rely on others. For the most part.
I can see that, because some of my favorite Peter quotes, especially early Peter quotes, was when he realized that he didn't like the personalities of other superheroes at the time and got mega pissed off at them.
Yeah, it's just the idea that he wouldn't be pushed around, but this one's willing to get pushed around by a Flash Thompson who's also a scrawny nerd. It's kind of just embarrassing for no reason.
You know what? I have an example actually in your favor that I can think of too. When Peter gets the suit taken away by Iron, I feel like even if comic Peter was a young kid being sponsored by Iron Man, that he would not have just given the suit. That would have been a goddamn fist fight.
I don't even think he would accept Iron Man's help in the first place.
I'm saying in the scenario that early comic book Peter was convinced to accept Tony's help, in the event that Tony tried to strong-arm him and go, okay, give me back the suit, you made a singular mistake, Peter would have started either verbally or physically beating him. He would have rubbed every single one of his failures in his face and said, yeah, I fucked up and I get that, but there's this thing called moving on and trying to fix the problem before it becomes even worse. Because that's pretty much how Peter is in the comic. He can be a dickhead, sure. He's also intelligent, as you pointed out, assertive, and does understand a bigger picture.
Yeah, he's they don't really get any of those traits from him in the MCU. It's also I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding if you make Spider-Man work or even be reliant to other heroes, because the whole point of the character is that Stan Lee wanted a teenage superhero that wasn't a Robin kind of thing and wasn't reliant on older heroes, and they kind of ruined that by making him reliant on Iron Man.
Even new comics get that, new Ultimate Spider-Man. He was technically given his powers by a version of Iron Man, but that Iron Man is also super disconnected outside of making sure a spider got to him. And him and Harry work together, sure, but they also do disconnected solo shit, so you still see Peter on his own a majority of the time.
Yeah, but it's mainly for his teenage years. He needs to be
he needs to spend a good 3 to 5 years on his own. He can interact with other heroes, but he shouldn't have anything permanent with them aside from developing some friendship.
Yeah, it's important for him to have that kind of independence, because that was the point of the character when being created. So seeing MCU not embody that at all is kind of shitty. Shows that Marvel nowadays doesn't care about their own characters.
It might just be because I'm, feeling less hard on media in general lately. I used to hate MCU Peter and pretty much just say that he was Miles, but brushed with a good old paint can of whitewash. given none of the cool extra Miles powers. Because, again, his general setup is just fucking Miles.
Because Marvel for years have been more interesting in writing Miles Morales adaptations than Peter, but they're too afraid to just
which is like, fine.
tell us that Peter isn't here anymore. It's kind of annoying.
It's not even that Peter isn't here. If you want to, like, put Peter on the back burner because the character has been through the ringer and he needs a rest, that's fine. But even the comics recently, quote-unquote, permanent killed off Peter. He's gonna be back by, like, fucking Christmas, swear to God. Well, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, recent comics suck. Is there any more disagreements that we have here?
I mean, I think I heard you guys talking about Raimi, right?
What about Raimi?
I was asking if you guys had brought it up. I was on the YouTube stream before I decided that I wanted to actually join the disagreement.
I think we jokingly said that Raimi's Spider-Man sucks to piss one guy off.
Yeah, I didn't hear that, but that probably would have got me because I love the movies. I was actually going to bring up how I think those movies are overall pretty good. Not great, not bad, but good movies. But they do have one big flaw that I don't think a lot of people bring up. And that is that Sam Raimi clearly saw what Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher did with the Batman movies and tried to do the same thing. Which is that even though every movie has its own story and its own character arc for Peter Parker or Bruce Wayne, depending on the franchise, each one of them service or attempt to service an overall story arc that the character was meant to go through during that string of movies. And I kind of think Spider-Man 2 and 3 fucked up a little bit on what the overarching story arc and theme was. Which...
I don't know, I'm just kind of not understanding what...
Okay, let me rephrase it in a more succinct fashion. I believe that much like the 89 Batman movie to Batman and Robin have an overarching story arc and character arc for Bruce Wayne, that a similar idea was implemented with Sam Raimi's trilogy. But I believe they also fumbled the bag in the last two movies, and I thought I would see if you guys agreed or disagreed, or maybe if I was just plain wrong, because I was just incorrect about something.
Like about the origin or something? I'm still kind of confused.
No, I'm not talking about the origin. I'm saying I believe the movies, all three of them as a whole, have an overarching character arc they're attempting to give to Peter Parker, but that it doesn't fully work because of how the movies were written. Because my biggest thing is, if you look across all the movies, there are a lot of like movie 1 is all about, responsibility, early adulthood, all that shit. Movie 2 with depression and trying to heal yourself before you heal others. And then movie
just
3
like Joker
is about...
1's about depression.
Yeah. Yes, but less you get what you fucking deserve, and more you have to care for yourself before you can make sure others are all right. And then movie 3 kind of like had a theme about flipping and struggling in your adult life and still making sure you come back to the right path and make things right, especially because as you grow older, people die and you could lose them. Those are all just individual things you could loosely attach to each movie. But I think overall, all of them service a pretty obvious theme you might have been noticing with how I phrase it about growing up. Because a lot of times, at least in the 2000s, people didn't know a lot of stuff about health struggles, so a lot of people assumed they were feeling normal until they got extremely severe depression, like what Peter went through in movie 2. Not to mention, you've got movie 1 touching on teenage struggles in fucking cafeteria scene. I always viewed Peter's powers fucking with him at an awkward time as a puberty allegory, etc.
Oh yeah, the 40-mile-per-hour car moment.
Yeah, yes, that's what we'll call it. But I just think that the second and third movie kind of fuck it up, though, because SK did give a very good defense in his video about the second movie for why it is not a badly written movie, despite, showing how things, generally speaking, looked up in Peter's life after he quit being Spider-Man. But I think there's kind of one thing that I wish they added that kind of fucks character arc of Peter growing up and dealing with his issues, which is that as soon as he's confident that he wants to do Spider-Man stuff, his powers are just back fully. which kind of fucks with me for a few reasons. And I know that sounds stupid because the entire point was him losing his powers because of the depression, and it was just pretty much a sickness from being so fucked up in the head for a while. But I also feel like he should have genuinely had a struggle and almost lost the Doc Ock fight, not fully having power. I think it would have really driven the theme home, especially come movie 3, where he still fails, but if you watch the movies in rapid succession, you'll notice how he treats himself. First 2 movies, when Peter Parker fucks up, Peter Parker treats himself like garbage. In the second movie, till he thinks he murdered one, he usually just goes, shit, well, that sucked. Better take care of that later. You notice how he's more mature. He doesn't beat on himself super hard for just making a mistake, even if that was a mistake like somebody getting away. And it feels way less earned, because what was his struggle? He didn't take care of himself, lost his powers because he didn't take care of himself, took care of himself for like a couple weeks, and then he was all good to go and didn't take care of himself properly. You know,
I don't think he doesn't get his powers back because he wants his powers back. He gets his
well,
powers back
the
because MJ is in
specific
danger.
line that they call back to is a strong focus on what he wants. And that was what would help him, guide his life back to the right path. That was what his doctor said. Which, more so, the doctor meant in terms of his therapy. Now, I might be misremembering. I know the 2.1 version does have slightly different scenes. But at least in the version I grew up with, which was 2.1, when he throws the rocks, Peter literally, or the debris off himself, Peter quite literally says that word for word to himself, remarking
I thought
that
he
it
said
was a
that
strong...
before he tried the jump across the rooftops. That's when he says it, and then he like falls down and he's like, "Oh, my back, and then
He says it then, and I'm pretty sure in one edition of the movie, or maybe I'm slating entirely deleted scenes. I've watched all of these movies back. They were my favorite movies when I was a youngin', so I admit I might be misremembering a deleted scene or something, but I know there is a version of the scene in the restaurant, cafe, whatchamacallit, where, the roof gets crushed down on them, MJ's taken, Peter tosses it, and he just makes that same remark again. Which to me...
Do you remember that, SK? Because I don't remember that at all. I don't think
If
he
I'm
says
wrong,
it there.
or I'm remembering a
To
deleted
be honest,
scene,
I'm
I'm totally
not
willing
even,
to admit that.
I'm not even following this super closely. It's like, yeah, okay, I guess he's voicing his thing. I mean,
Thank you, SK. Thank you for that.
Sorry. Oh, hey, come on. Don't be mean. He's being...
He was voicing a thing. I think.
I'm just kind of having trouble like following what the
I
point
think it's
is,
because
but-
I'm kind of, honestly, a bit all over the place today, so let me reword it slightly more succinctly. I think the trilogy has an overarching character arc that Peter is maturing and becoming a better person who is having a more balanced life throughout the 3 movies. My problem is, I feel like the implementation of how Peter gets his powers back and then just how he is just generally treating himself better come movie 3 feels kind of off, in my opinion, unearned, albeit I'm not a professional, so my opinion could be wrong.
I don't get how it's unearned though. Like the reason he earns
Him
his
getting
powers,
his powers back is not the moment. I think it is that with
Okay.
I just realized what the problem. Peter getting his powers back isn't what feels unearned. It is that from that moment on until he has the literal drug allegory symbiote in the next movie, he is in an entirely better headspace. When it should have been, Peter gets his powers back and tries to accept the struggle, even though that theme was more so applied to the Peter-MJ relationship, where, I mean, yes, it definitely has validity.
Doesn't he accept it in the end of the second movie, though?
I'm talking about the second. How I feel like it's weird that he gets his powers back, but then he just seems in a generally better mental headspace, even though it's the end of the third movie where you see he's, finally found that balance.
I don't see where he's in, like, the greatest headspace. He literally says, I'll always be Spider-Man, you and I can never be, which is, like, on a somber note. And you don't really see him, like, happy or satisfied at the end when he's just in his apartment looking out the window.
But you don't have to be happy to be in a better space. That's the thing a lot of people don't touch on. Simply no longer being as depressed or finally figuring out your issue and starting to overcome it is generally bringing yourself into a better space. And I understand why Peter getting his powers back and fulfilling his arc within the movie made sense. But I feel like it also causes some oddity, because, like I said, at the end of the third movie, his character arc is complete. He is a better, fuller, more mature person. That shows with how he acts, even in No Way Home to a degree. But then, at the end of movie 2 through the beginning of movie 3, he feels like a different person. You pointed out how at the end of movie 2, still in a somber, depressed note, and albeit there are differences in his life, such as, being in a loving relationship with MJ, but I feel like it's just weird for Peter to suddenly be so happy and on top of the world in the beginning of the movie where he's still supposed to be struggling and, getting the symbiote and failing and figuring out his balance.
Well, in the third movie, they establish he's not struggling as much as the second movie. The people love him. He's doing better at his job. He's not getting late for class anymore. He has the love of his life. He's like on the top of his game in movie 3. The whole point of movie 3 is that he has to overcome some kind of pride and arrogance he got because things are going better for him, and that's how the symbiote takes advantage of that.
Okay, first of all, I want to preface that I understand what you're saying. I don't want this to seem argumentative or anything or stupid like that.
Well, this is disagreement day, and I want blood, so no worries.
Oh, good. Well, just in case I get angry or something, no hard feelings.
SK thinks this is some sophisticated ass sit down and talk meeting. I'm in a gladiatorial arena right now.
I think it's some sophisticated.
I got the weapons ready.
I'm the one getting all pretentious and shit. Don't drag SK into my idiot. But,
I'm waiting for the fucking lion to come out of the cage so I can slaughter it. I'm ready for some fucking fighting.
I'll just say, Liam, in the weight room, I do see a certain someone and that certain someone's gonna get it. He's gonna get it.
All right, then I'm
not holding back on him.
You can get to the chaos sooner. Hey, I can't disappoint y'all. Y'all are having fun running your. I ain't here to fuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I think what I'm trying to say is the overall arc that I interpret for Peter across may be incorrect, but under the way in which I see them, Peter being in such a better place, especially when some of the things you listed that are better in his life were only because he was doing generally better and happily, don't always work. Like, some of the things make sense. In love with MJ, doing better at his job, better as Spider-Man, being loved by the people. But I also feel like it's a very classic hallmark of Spider-Man that not everything can ever be going right. Even if Peter
that's where Sandman gets introduced, and he's like, I didn't get my uncle's killer. This man killed my uncle, and you didn't tell me about it. And then he goes after Sandman and shit.
What I mean is that I'm pretty sure that's either right before or right after the symbiote introduced. But what I mean is, at the start of the movie, if we did not have a carryover plot with Harry wanting to kill Spider-Man, would there be any struggle for Peter for the first 20-30 minutes until we actually find out what's happening with Sandman? If you took out, Neo Goblin, one of the two contrived-ass villains who would need a whole-ass rewrite to actually be really good, then wouldn't it just kind of be really weird to think about how nothing is troubling Peter?
Well,
I know you can't really...
that was a good one, and I didn't think about
Harry,
it. But yeah, his best friend wants to kill him. That's one of them. I forgot about that. There's also
what I mean is that
he has relationship issues with Mary Jane when the scene with where he kisses Gwen. So there's also that Mary Jane and him aren't perfect.
What I mean is
because he ruined it a little bit.
The hallmark of Spider-Man I'm talking that at the beginning of the story there's always a struggle. To give an example, Spectacular Spider-Man starts out. What is one of the first things that happen? You see Peter
around going, "I'm the Spectacular Spider-Man."
Okay, I should be more specific. You're right. I shouldn't leave the door open for smartassery.
Well, what do you mean by the beginning? Because the beginning of the movie
I mean, like,
is literally in Spider-Man 3. He's like he sits there. He's like, "Oh, this is my girlfriend." And
Okay.
then she sings the song, and then just right in the right up top, it's like, "Whoa, here comes Harry. He hates Peter." Da-na-na-na-na. It's like, "Oh
What
no,
I
there's
mean
this
is,
Peter struggle." Like that's the
then
beginning
let
of
me
the movie.
break it down a bit closer. You can understand a bit closer in detail. Now, I don't know specific minute timings. I'm not that much of a sweaty nerd that I could give you a specific time code. But it takes about, I'd say between 12 and 15 for Harry to show up and start that whole debacle in the beginning of the movie. And with how everything is framed, we have Peter, whose life is generally going better. But the thing that really makes me feel weird is that a lot of Spider-Man stories like to start with his life going equal measures good and bad at the very least. And my example with Spectacular Spider-Man is Peter is doing great as Spider-Man. He's having a good social life, like with his aunt, and he's starting to feel more positive about himself. And him and his friends are still, connected and confidently hanging out together. And then he starts school, and he immediately starts realizing how many lifestyle changes he didn't consider just from the spider bite alone, let alone personality shifting a bit. There is the fact that he was not only being targeted, but it's implied in the first season he's being targeted more for actually growing confidence. He almost exposes himself by using his powers on accident, something bothersome towards him, so the spider sense made him aware and he dodged it. In the first 5 or so minutes of the episode, which I'd say compared to a nearly 2-hour movie is roughly comparative, first 10-15-ish minutes, before we even have to introduce a supervillain, we've already given Peter actual goals and issues and things that we're going to try and see him work on and improve and change. And it actually causes a lot of satisfaction when later in the series, Peter is hiding his powers way better. Barely
Yeah, but
slips
wouldn't
up.
that be Harry in like Spider-Man 3? Like just immediately we're like, "Oh no, Harry thinks he smells really bad. How is he gonna handle this?"
Well,
Like that is the opening of the movie. It's literally just like, "Harry, I didn't kill your father. Tell that to my dead father," and he fucking drives away.
okay.
And
We're
then
not
Peter's like,
talking
"Oh
about the
boy,
only...
my friend hates me." Like that's like the beginning
Okay.
of the movie.
Small side note, is it just me, or does half the dialogue in Spider-Man come off like Sam Raimi asked fucking George Lucas for some help after he saw his only Sith deal in absolutes writing?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's like
I mean, I don't
every
really- I
second
don't really-
line, what I mean is kind of funny. It's not actually against the
I
movie.
love how SK's like, everyone agrees Spider-Man 3 is bad. I want to upset people's sacred cows. Move it along. Oh my god. Bro's
Bro,
getting
I
so
love
bored right now.
Spider-Man 3. I love Spider-Man. You can call it shit to my face. I am. That doesn't have to be a good movie to be a
Fuck
beloved
Spider-Man
movie.
3.
I don't like it that much. It's bad.
I mean, that's understandable.
That's because you hate fun.
No, I've been of the opinion for years that I just absolutely hate The Amazing Spider-Man 2, even though it has good parts, so I can understand, even though it's generally just a fucking mid or below average movie, so I get it.
It's my birthday. It's time to light my candles.
Yeah,
Though I will
alright,
never get tired of Peter Parker go through 4 accents in just as many seconds.
This has been fun, man, but I say we kind of move on to the next person. He's been kind of waiting a while. Unless you feel
Yeah,
like you have more to
no.
say about Friendly Neighborhood.
I mean, the only other things I can say is, like, shit show had a lot of potential. I really hope they start living
So
up
that's
to it and
agreement
course
day.
correcting things before it's too late.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I'll
Glad
pop
to have
out
you
now.
on.
Thank you
Hope to
guys
see
for
you again,
having me,
man.
though. Yeah, I'll totally try and pop in next time with more pre-thought out arguments.
Next
so
time
I'm
I
not
want
just
blood.
rambling.
Next time I want blood if you're joining.
Oh, so you're saying next time you need me to, like, make the most argumentative response I can.
Sure.
Take
Yeah.
this, like...
Alright,
Bring some
take
weapons.
this, like,
Good.
classic Amazing Lucas days.
Alright, I want to
Alright.
bully PJ. Have a
Yeah.
wonderful day,
Alright.
Have a wonderful day.
Bye, you guys.
Goodbye.
Great one.
dude. Fuck you, PJ.
All right,
Fuck
I'm gonna
you.
make this quick. I'm gonna make this quick because I'm gonna be on a call with Primezilla. I think SK, the McDonald's muncher himself, he loves Sonic Forces. He hates Frontiers. He
lying
hates
piece of shit.
Unleashed. He thinks Sonic
a
Forces
liar.
is he thinks Sonic Forces is better than fucking Sonic 3
Puny gesture.
and Knuckles.
Puny
What
gesture.
type of
Explain why it isn't.
Jester?
Explain why it isn't.
disgusting?
Make an argument.
Piss jar?
Make an
Piss
argument.
jar?
Make
Piss
an
jar?
argument. Make an
Alright.
argument. Make an argument right now.
It's all in his patterns. His
Oh,
voice.
it's my
his
patterns.
talking
It's my patterns.
You have a pattern for not making arguments. You have a pattern for not making fucking
listen, I'm making an
arguments.
argument right now, motherfuckers. I'm making an argument.
Make an argument right now.
I'm making an argument right now.
Piss jar.
It's all in your voice. I can hear in your voice. You're shivering. You're shaking in your boots. You're shaking in your boots right now.
I will fuck you.
You're shaking.
Fuck me then.
Let's go.
Right now? All right, I'm down.
Let's go.
What the hell? What are you doing? What are you doing? You psycho. Piss jar.
Yes, Stink King.
What is wrong?
Pickle
with you?
Jello.
I have type 2 diabetes.
You have type 2 insanity. What the fuck?
I think that's what it's called.
You're a
Fuck
nutcase.
you, bro. Didn't make an argument. Can't make an argument.
Yeah,
have no
can't make an
arguments.
argument. You
Could not
lost.
prove that
You
Sonic
lost.
Forces is bad. Cannot prove that Spider-Man swinging is automated. Couldn't
Look,
prove shit.
look.
Had a
Here's
bad
what-
argument about Junior.
Look, listen.
Listen,
all right?
listen.
Sonic Frontiers insists upon itself.
Fuck off.
a dog TFP.
Sonic Frontiers insists
Guys,
upon
Family Guy.
itself.
Isn't Family Guy
It
funny?
insists.
Am I funny now? I'm Family Guy. Shut the fuck up, bro.
It insists
Goofy ass
upon
motherfucker.
itself.
You should insist upon yourself to fucking eat Tide
Yeah?
Pods.
Yeah?
Yeah, fat fucker.
Fuck you. I can hear the fat in
Fuck
your
you
voice.
too.
You're
I can hear
wheezing
the
on your
type 2
fucking breath right
diabetes
now.
through your voice.
You can?
Smell the ranch
There you
through
go.
the screen. I can smell the ranch.
I can
Yeah,
smell
the
the
ranch-
onions
You're a
coming from your
ranch-
armpits from
You're
here,
a
bro.
ranch drinking, pickle juice licking fat fuck with terrible opinions on Sonic.
Terrible
Fuck you.
opinions.
Yeah,
name
in
one of them.
opinion.
Name five.
Name
Name
one-
5 terrible Sonic opinions.
All right. You said
Okay, no,
Frontiers is
okay.
bad.
Yep. You say you think Frontiers is bad.
think Force-
You
No, I
think
didn't.
that Frontiers doesn't have physics in its movement system. Another one will be fucking. You don't like Sonic Adventure 2 because you're lame.
You don't even like
Um,
Sonic Adventure 2 either, you fat fuck.
Prove it. Prove it. Prove it. Prove it. Prove it.
Dog,
Prove it.
literally
Prove it.
anytime.
You're a fucking
No, this is for
idiot.
real now.
fucking idiot.
This is for real now.
Idiot.
Anytime we don't call, you literally rage at the fucking treasure hunting stages.
Name it.
Do not,
name
do
it.
not lie to me.
Name
Do
one
not lie
time
to
I
me.
criticized
Name
the
five.
treasure hunting
Name five
stages right
pieces of
now.
evidence.
Name
Name
one
five
time.
pieces of
Name one
evidence.
time I criticized the
Dog,
treasure hunting stages.
Dog, it wasn't
Name
in
one
your
time.
motherfucker. It was in
Name
your
one time.
server. It was in your fucking
Where
server. It wasn't
was
League
in my
Entertainment.
server? Where
It was in
my
League
server?
League
Prove it.
Entertainment.
Wait,
Proof?
wait.
Proof?
Show
Proof?
the video. Show the video logs. Where is it? Where is it?
Yeah. Show it.
me
Show the
bodies.
scans.
Show me
I don't
the
even think I
bodies.
recorded
Where
it.
are the bodies?
Oh,
Where are the
you
bodies
didn't-
right now?
I don't think I recorded it.
Why
Guys,
the fuck would I record it? It was just a, listen, it was just a chill call. Why would I record that?
It was just a chill
I'm gonna
call.
say
Why
that
would
you
I
did this
record
thing,
it?
but I don't really have proof of it. I'm gonna say that you did this thing, even though I don't have proof.
Exactly, because you're a disingenuous little shit, PJ. Puny jester.
Disingenuous Family Guy looking fat fuck, ranch
Yeah.
drinking, pickle juice smelling motherfucker. Fuck you.
Oh shit.
Oh shit! I got exposed. Oh shit! Oh
You like you like forces. You like forces.
You like forces,
Dude.
You're trying to follow the
Dude.
crowd, pinning all these announcements, being like, check out this video on why Forces story sucks. When you actually like it, I know it hurts your soul having to put that in announcements, being like, oh my god, I can't believe he made a video about Forces.
I bet your computer chair is just filled with Dorito dust. It's fucking disgusting there.
It's not actually.
Dude, I bet
Like,
your
dude,
chair is
if
soaking
someone even smacks your chair, like it will be like a fucking pipe bomb's worth of fucking Dorito dust coming out of that shit, bro.
Exactly.
No
Like it
ma'am.
fills the air.
No ma'am, it is not.
Mm.
No ma'am. No ma'am.
No ma'am, no ma'am.
ma'am. No, ma'am.
Am I funny? Family Guy PFP. I'm a Family Guy PFP. Hey Peter, Family Guy. Fuck you, fucking fat, smelly dog looking bitch.
All right, I win.
You suck at Portal 2.
I do suck at Portal 2. That is a fact.
Yeah, exactly. Well, fuck yourself.
All right, that's it. I won. Thank you.
You
Good night.
lost. You lost. You got cooked.
Fuck that guy.
What a coward. I won, guys. I won. I won. Fuck you.
Disingenuous piece of shit. Fuck that guy. I will find him. When this is over, I will find him.
I will find
You know what's
him.
so funny as SK? So many people talk so much shit about our take on Friendly Neighborhood. Where's the disagreements?
Exactly.
Where
Where
are
are the
they?
disagreements? And tell us why.
Yeah, where are the
We're waiting.
disagreements?
We want war. We hate Spider-Man.
I
so much
want
'cause we hate
war.
the show. Prove we.
I feel
prove we
fat.
hate
I feel
Spider-Man.
fat saying this, but I'm gonna keep saying this. I want war. I want war.
It'll start a war.
My God,
I'm counting on it.
I'm counting on it. Okay, who's in the fucking?
No one's
Your
in the
chat,
wait
I'm gonna
room
check.
as of now, but you know what? While we're at it, why don't we just look at a few comments? Just
Why don't
to
we
see.
talk about Across the Spider-Verse being trash and ruining Miguel's character? Why don't we talk about that? I'm kind of interested in that one. Aren't you, SK? Piece of shit.
That's gonna
Name 5
destroy-
2099 stories right now.
Name 520. Issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, issue 4, issue 5.
Oh yeah, because like each issue is a completely separate story, right? SK, that's how comics work. Disingenuous little fuck. Fuck you. Someone's in the room. Get him in.
All right.
Get him in. Get him in. Get him in.
Here. I mean, this is someone we know, but
Someone's in the waiting room. Get him in. Get him in.
Turn that shit off before I fucking destroy you.
Hey guys, okay.
alrighty.
Goofy ass motherfucker.
Goofy goober.
Okay,
Goofy
Liam.
goober. Did you know that Jeb was being a goofy goober this one time, SK? Do you remember that shit? That was fucking hilarious.
Alrighty. So do we wanna what's the disagreement? Tell us why.
I disagree with Colin's forehead. I don't know.
Oh, you disagree with the forehead. I mean that's a sound disagreement.
That implies that we disagree with that.
Yeah, I mean what would we disagree with?
That's disagreement day.
Oh no, I heard a disagreement day was on and I wanted to be on stream.
Alrighty, well in that case
Clout chaser.
Yeah, Clout Chaser. I want to read off some comments. I'm not going to read off all of them. I think we can end it off by just reading off some of the funniest responses I've gotten. Just like absolute cope. That's the best way to describe it. Okay. So let's see. Can I show this? Filters. Let me make sure this is... Okay. Yeah, we can read off a few comments right now. I will show it on screen. I will just read them off so you can follow along.
Send it to general in disagreement day so I can
Yeah, okay. We'll do that.
properties.
There was one conversation I found particularly funny. If I can
Oh wait,
find
the
it.
thing overlays the other thing. That's weird.
Where's that comment thread? It was... Okay, there it is. It's this guy. I know it's because of the Spider-Man 67 skin. Or profile pic. My bad. Alright. Screen cap. That. Put it here. That's the first part of it. God, this is fucking long.
SK, I'm gonna make you play Lethal Company today, even if you don't wanna. I
Okay.
wanna play it so bad.
So we will follow along by just me reading it off, and you'll just show screenshots on there. So the first one I want to read. Terrible is a huge overstatement. When most criticisms of the show come down to, I don't like this change. What's the point of this change? That's irrelevant. It's a new story.
Why would he change?
It's not comic Spider-Man or other Spider-Man media. If you have no idea what Spider-Man was before watching the show, I don't see much reason to complain about it. I don't think it's perfect or the best or anything, but I do think it's a good / entertaining show. So I say maybe listen to the entire point, because my specific point about the change is the consequence it has on the writing, which is that Peter is a flat character with a weak origin story and thus has a thinner reason to be Spider-Man as a result. I literally said changes are fine in the video, but I'm also going to point out what makes it weaker. Also, most criticisms in this
Well,
video
another thing
are
I
about
wanna-
changes.
Another thing I want to say is, like, this is what really annoys me about this shit. Is, like, downgrades not considered bad anymore?
Yeah, this is a downgrade. Like, it's not just
Yeah,
being
like,
different,
this
it's
is
literally
downgraded.
But
Like,
yeah,
why is that not considered a negative anymore? That, like, they take something from the comics or a TV show or a movie or a book or
Make it
whatever,
worse.
they adapt it and they make it, like, worse. Why is that not bad anymore?
Yeah, that I'd like to know that. Yeah, I bring up that
Like,
most of
I
the
thought we had
criticisms aren't
standards
even-
with this shit.
aren't even about change, and comparisons were made only to highlight weaknesses versus strengths. And this guy says, you're using your preconceived notion for what you think Spider-Man should be. What's wrong with him starting out as a good-natured person, similar to Captain America, who was a hero before he got his powers? I basically told him, no, I'm using what gave him depth in the first place to highlight strengths and compare it to its weaknesses. Captain America: The First Avenger is not a standout superhero movie to me anyway, so I don't know why you're using that as a comparison when my sole point was about removing depth to the main character in a way that doesn't enhance the story. I much prefer Captain America: The Winter Soldier and Captain America: Civil War, because they do plenty to challenge the worldview of Captain America, certainly more than the show does with Spider-Man, and Steve's depth as a character is rooted in the man-out-of-time element as he adjusts to a world that he's unsure about how to adjust to. And then he comes back with me saying, so you're back to subjective criticism. Your personal standard of what gives a character depth is just that. To me, Spider-Man's depth is a young hero who constantly gets hit and always gets back up. And like
That's not
just,
depth. That's concept.
I
Like,
know.
what the fuck?
Just put a pin in that for now. And then it says, and we see that with this Peter. Uncle Ben not being relevant is irrelevant. You not liking his origin compared to the source of inspiration is irrelevant when it comes to the overall quality. You accept that the characters are how they are introduced and judge them off consistency. So this Peter doesn't start off a jerk. He still has other character changes.
I
Accepting
hate
help from
these
Norman,
kind of people.
then
They're so annoying.
moving away, trusting the people close to him, learning to stop holding back and when to show restraint. Now, it's so funny because all these ideas that, like, I've gone over, like, all of this is weak. All of this was done very weak in the show, and I proved that in the video, but he's not addressing that. So, I quoted him when he said, to me, Spider-Man's depth is about the young hero who constantly gets hit and always gets back up. And I just told him, remember when I said that Peter Parker is a generic superhero in the show? You're proving my point by describing the depth of his character by listing a trope you see in nearly every other superhero. Every superhero gets hit and gets back up. You haven't given me anything special about Spider-Man. If Ben isn't relevant and don't care to explore how this affects Peter, maybe the show shouldn't focus on referencing him often and having him be a subject of conversation at points, kind of like what adaptations often do with Peter Parker's parents. Commit to the idea or don't bother if you're not going to give it any meaning anyway. At least Homecoming and Far From Home stayed committed to a direction in this element. Consistency isn't the sole basis for criticizing characters. You can criticize hollow moments and poor build-up, which I showed in the video many times. Your character can watch paint dry for the entire time and be a completely consistent character, but that doesn't mean I should give the character credit for that alone. I've discussed in detail how Peter's character journey is structurally messy and executed poorly. Maybe take a look at the full video because the discussion doesn't end with episode 1 and you're attempting to reference later episodes. That's just like crazy. Like, I just don't get it. Like the whole, oh, you have to judge them just based off consistency. It's like, no, I don't.
I think people don't understand that good writing isn't the absence of bad writing. Good writing is adding to like the story and characters and stuff. It's not just the absence of bad shit being in the show. Even if there's no inconsistency, if Peter's this shallow as a character, that's still bad. That would just immediately be bad writing.
Yeah.
Because our main character is lacking basic depth. I'm not even asking for him to be as deep as fucking Walter White or something. I'm asking for something to be in the character, to be a part of the character that makes him interesting.
Exactly.
It's not interesting for a goody two-shoes to be a goody two-shoes for no reason. It's actually really funny that people bring up stuff like Captain America. Even Captain America has an interesting reason to be a hero. It's just not explored in media. So it just shows a level of ignorance. Captain America had an abusive father and a mother that like taught him good virtues and values. And thanks to his mother being such a strong role model to him, he bases his heroic nature off of her. That's not just, oh, he's just perfect for no reason. There's like a reason for it. There's more depth behind the scene, behind like, you know, the character.
Yeah, pretty much. It's stuff like that where I'm seeing like arguments like that. It's just like, yeah, these are just nothing arguments. They don't really tell me anything about why it's good. So That's been
And
what a lot
also,
of the
they
comments
have character flaws that are like, even if they don't have a reason, a super interesting reason to be a hero, they at least have character flaws to make it interesting that they are one. Like Superman's insecurity about fitting in because he's an alien. Cap America, Cap America survivor's guilt from being the only one who made it out of World War II, in a way. Like he technically cheated out of a war he promised to fight. Like there's stuff like that that can keep a character interesting. Peter in Friendly Neighborhood has barely anything. It's just
nothing.
he's insecure about being a good hero, but we don't even know why.
Yeah, he just is for no reason.
Yeah, it's very fucking boring. That's a very, very, very shallow character.
Okay, so my dinner's arriving in like a couple minutes, so I'm gonna have to hop off from there. But yeah, this was fun to do. I wish we had a little more turnout for disagreements because people were very vehement on defending the show. But it is what it is. What can you do?
They fear us, SK. They fear us.
They fear us. Yeah.
They fear the smell. They fear the smell.
Well, yeah,
They're intimidated by our smell.
That's all I got.